Hello there, everyone. You know who I am, E.T. Templar, Alien Crusader from Beyond the Heavens, here to entertain and destroy through the power of me magic. So in this video, I'm talking about pocket dimensions and an interesting part of this topic, which we'll get into here in a bit. So for those of you who aren't helpless nerds, a pocket dimension is essentially a dimension made by technology or magic that you can just put a whole lot of stuff in and it not weigh anything. The very real, and it's been around forever, the idea of pocket dimensions. Even in Mary Poppins, her bag is probably pocket dimensions because there's that scene where she pulls out a lamp and all this other crazy stuff from this small case that she has. So that's the earliest, to my knowledge, example of a pocket dimension. There's also in the Pokemon series, you know, those Pokeballs? Those are also a pocket dimension because how else would you explain that they would hold these 1,000-pound animals or Pokemon in them? It's also hinted at in the Pokemon lore that they are pocket dimensions, ways to store big things in small dimensions. And of course, that those aren't the only media to have pocket dimensions. There's a very interesting movie called Ultraviolet, which is about a vampire movie. And in this movie, they have ninjas and these vampire ninjas, believe it or not, have access to technology that's called quantum space technology, or is it quantum? I think it's quantum space technology, where they can actually have a full blown sword in a pocket dimension here that they can pull out. They even have a series of guns. There's even a point where the main character, I think, has a series of guns in this pocket dimension that she can just pull off at will and then just shoot until it runs out of ammo, get another one. There's even a cool scene, too, where she can load bullets into the gun directly. There's a pocket dimension in the gun, and the bullets just can fall into the gun without having to reload a magazine. So pocket dimensions are a very interesting thing, a very cool topic. There's a book I bring called Moonbreaker, where he has a pocket dimension in his pocket, so that's where he stores all this like important shit. And with pocket dimensions, they're also in Dungeons and Dragons. There's some mages that actually can have and create pocket dimensions, of course, which means you can store literally anything of any size in a small space. And it's a very cool idea, but I was thinking about this randomly. What if they had pocket dimension prisons? So this is a terrifying idea, mainly for the fact that if there is a technology or through magic, if someone could make a pocket dimension, and if you can make a pocket dimension, can you customize that? So, for example, you could have a pocket dimension prison where the person is just in absolute darkness, endless darkness, or you could have it where it's a basic 3x9 cell, but they can't escape it. Or you just have a pocket dimension of a giant empty prison, which is terrifying enough. So, with this idea of pocket dimension prisons, it really brings about some terrifying ideas. You'd have pocket dimensions where it's nothing but water. So the prisoner has to learn how to swim or tread water. You could even set one up to where there's like fire that's just fire and doesn't burn. Or either the ideas in the realms of just terror for pocket dimension prisons is pretty terrifying. And not only that, could you think what else they could do is like have time slowed by 1/100th? So when you get a 5-year sentence, it's actually doubled or more within the pocket dimension. So as the prisoner serving time, it's the time dilation or time difference in that pocket dimension could be different or slower compared to the time dimensions outside that pocket dimension. So you have these very interesting, very terrifying ideas now that the time within the pocket dimension for the prisoner is now not only longer and seems longer than the outside realm. Or you can have time speed up. You can have it seem like, I don't know, it's the idea of pocket dimensions just also seems like a human rights violation, because you could do a whole lot of heinous things with pocket dimensions. And of course, you get to the point where what if the pocket dimension fails? What if it like short circuits and closes? Then that person's essentially lost in a dimension forever, or until they figure out a way to get that same device where that person was. Or if the device fails, is that the end? Does existence just end for that person? So it's another interesting topic, if you're going to be a writer, to explore. I'm even thinking about doing something with it. I'm not sure yet, but it would be a very interesting way. And of course, to correlate this, there's also Stargate Atlantis. There's these race of aliens called the Wraith. They're like vampire aliens, and they suck the life out of your chest when they take their hand. They can also give life back to the person and make them younger. So these Wraith have a way of abducting people. Their darts, the Wraith darts, have this ray that picks people up from the ground and stores them in canisters about this big. So it can store one or multiple people in a pocket dimension of this size, and they can keep them there in stasis for a while until they need to pull them out and feed on them. So there's even an episode in Stargate Atlantis where the heroes use this to their advantage. They use a Wraith Dart to extract other heroes and characters in peril. They fly over, fly low. It shoots this ray of light that just whoosh, sucks them up. And darts are usually just a two-person craft. So this two-person craft picks up 3 or 4 of the heroes and carries them to safety, where then they are later extracted out of that pocket dimension that the Wraiths have. And that's a very interesting idea. So pocket dimensions are a very just fascinating and terrifying technology. And if humanity gets to that point, that'd be really cool. But on the flip side, you could do a lot of terrible crap with that. Like, you could even, through pocket dimensions, have like 1,000-man armies just appear out of nowhere. You could hide tanks inside canisters that you could just open and it deploys the tank, or the endless possibilities. That's why science fiction, it's why there's a lot of people who love science fiction, because you're dealing with shit that when you think about it, it's you can't really wrap your mind around it. And that's the cool thing about pocket dimensions. And even in retrospect to Pokemon, right? What if, like, Pokemon, the universe of or the story, what if they use that to detain criminals? Can you imagine? So you have some bank robbers robbing a bank, or you have a terrorist and you have a Pokeball. Could you use that against humans? Pelt them with the Pokeball and get them sucked into a Pokeball. See, it's stuff like that that makes you wonder, doesn't it? And again, that's not the only technology, pocket dimensions, but it's me reading about the book, and I just wanted me to talk about and do a video about it here. And not only that, like, the applications are endless. Like, what if you took a whole, like, multi-thousand tons of water, or metric tons of water, and put it in a pocket dimension, and you have some poor bastard, like, open or activate the pocket dimension, and then all of a sudden the whole area is flooded. So it's just an interesting technology, science fiction fantasy weapon that really makes you wonder. What if you packed one full of, like, a whole bunch of magma, or had, then someone opens it and burns everyone. So it's just an interesting writing tool. It's an interesting magic and science in fiction and fantasy that really should be explored more. Anyways, so that's pocket dimensions. Hopefully you found this video interesting. Drop a like, drop a dislike, comment below. How would you use a pocket dimension? I would already think of one having a kick-ass dimension where it's like your house. But then again, you'd have to have a way out, and you'd have to make sure it's secure. Because if anyone takes that, then you're essentially trapped in a pocket dimension forever. So it's a technology that hinders, that's helpful, but hinders as well if something goes terrifically wrong. Here's another nightmare scenario, just in closing. You have a pocket dimension infested with zombies. These. Anyways, see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed. Pocket dimensions. This needs to be a technology. Just for the coolness and the terror of it, that'd be neat. But then again, that's why I'm kind of glad we have a reality that doesn't have this kind of technology, because you can only imagine what kind of horrors humanity would use it for.
Patriotism is dead. There's only rebels and tyrants now.
A world ready for the righteous and the pure to inherit.
Don't believe in surrenders. No, I still got my saber, Reverend. Didn't turn it into no plowshare either.
I'm taking over this territory.